Okay, reading from Paulgraham.com, 13 sentences, or startups in 13 sentences from February 2009. Number one, pick good co-founders. Co-founders are for a startup what location is for real estate. You can change anything about a house except where it is. In a startup, you can change your idea easily, but changing your co-founders is hard. And the success of a startup is almost always a function of its co-founders. Number two, launch fast. The reason to launch fast is not so that it's critical to get your product to market early, but that you haven't really started working on it until you've launched. Launching teaches you what you should have been building until you know that you're wasting your time. So the main value of whatever you launch with is as a pretext for engaging users. Number three, let your ideas evolve. This is the second half of launching fast. Launch fast and iterate. It's a big mistake to treat a startup as if it were merely a matter of implementing some brilliant initial idea. As in an essay, most of the ideas appear in the implementing. Number four, understand your users. You can envision the wealth created by startups as a rectangle, where one side is the number of users and the other is how much you improve their lives. The second dimension is the one where you have the most control over. And indeed, the growth in the first will be driven by how well you do in the second. As in science, the hard part is not answering questions, but asking them. The hard part is seeing something new that users lack. The better you understand them, the better the odds of doing that. That's why so many successful startups make something the founders needed. Number five, better to make a few users love you than a lot ambivalent. Ideally, you want to make large numbers of users love you, but you can't expect to hit that right away. Initially, you have to choose between satisfying all the needs of a subset of potential users or satisfying a subset of the needs of all potential users. Take the first one. It's easier to expand user wise than satisfaction wise. And perhaps more importantly, it's harder to lie to yourself. If you think you're 80% of the way to a great product, how do you know it's not 70% or 10%? Whereas it's easy to know how many users you have. Number six, offer surprisingly good customer service. Customers are used to being maltreated. Most of the companies they deal with are quasi monopolies that get away with atrocious customer service. Their own ideas about what's possible have been unconsciously lowered by such experiences. Try making your customer service not merely good, but surprisingly good. Go out of your way to make people happy. You'll be overwhelmed. You'll see. In the earliest stages of a startup, it pays to offer customer service on a level that wouldn't scale because it's a way of learning about your users. Number seven, you make what you measure. Merely measuring something has an uncanny tendency to improve it. If you want to make your user numbers go up, put a big piece of paper on your wall and every day plot the number of users. You'll be delighted when it goes up and disappointed when it goes down. Pretty soon you'll start noticing what makes the number go up and you'll start to do more of that. Corollary. Be careful what you measure. Number eight, spend little. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for startups to be cheap. Sold. Number nine, get ramen profitable. Ramen profitable means a startup makes just enough to pay the founder's living expenses. Also sold. Number 10, avoid distractions. Nothing kills startups like distractions. The worst type are those that pay money, day jobs, consulting, profitable side projects. The startup may have more long-term potential, but you'll always interrupt working on it to answer calls from people paying you right now. Paradoxically, fundraising is this type of a distraction, so try to minimize that too. Number 11, don't get demoralized. Though the immediate cause of death in a startup tends to be running out of money, the underlying cause is usually lack of focus. Either the company is run by stupid people, which can be fixed with advice, or the people are smart but get demoralized. Starting a startup is a huge moral weight. Understand this and make a conscious effort not to be ground down by it, just as you're careful to bend at the knees when picking up heavy boxes. Number 12, don't give up. Even if you get demoralized,